Announced the full release and disclosure of the Epstein files, but unfortunately a dog tragically escaped into the Oval Office and ate all the files. This was the one and only copy we had of the files, and now they are gone forever. We will never know who was on the Epstein list, probably some very bad, very disgusting people I know nothing about. The good news is ICE has caught the dog, who was actually an illegal Australian migrant, and the dog is now being sent to Alligator Alcatraz, where it will be eaten by alligators. Justice has been served. Thank you.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
That's all we have to say about the Epstein files.
It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Oh, man, the Epstein files that just don't Epstein themselves. Okay.
All right. Let's go to see what's going on with this Ghislaine Maxwell stuff here to follow up in 1 second.
Well, I don't know about the meeting. I know it's taking place, and he's a fantastic man. He's a great attorney, and people should really focus on how well the country's doing, or they should focus on the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup, or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should
Hold
be
on a
spoken
second.
about.
Time out. This is right here. Okay. Look, he botched the first rendition of releasing the Epstein files. This right here is what made Donald Trump Donald Trump. This is what made him MAGA back in 2015. Back in 2016, when he first started running for presidency, and he was talking about Bill Clinton going to have some problems because of that old little island, right? This is vintage Trump. This is the Trump who we want. This is the Trump whom we put our trust in to be the president of the United States, to drain the swamp. And, you know, I think what's really happened here, Brother Matt, is he got upset because he thought that, you know, maybe there's some people, you know, on this list, not him. I don't believe he's on the list. It just doesn't make any sense for him to be on the list. He's the most vetted politician in all of politics. If they had something on him, Biden would not have sat on it. Kamala would not have sat on it just to save face for Bill Clinton. Like, they wouldn't have done that. Okay,
I know.
Hillary wouldn't have done that.
To be honest with you, like I think that makes a lot of common sense, and I regurgitated that. I thought that myself, but recently I've been thinking that they're persuaded that they don't want to bring this into the limelight. They don't, if they were to point the fingers at Donald Trump and say that he's on the list, then that means they're going to be bringing out the list themselves. So I don't know how much water that actually holds, that whole statement here, because it might be that is their last chance, or their plan B, their plan C, per se. But if they were to see that Donald Trump is on the list and then bring it up, then that means that they're also going to be responsible by exposing themselves as well, all at the same time. So it would to me make sense that they would only use that if they absolutely had to, and then perhaps they chose not to utilize it.
Yeah,
but we got a lot. We got so much to get into.
Go ahead.
We got so let's get through it, then we can talk about it. I think at the end, just so we can recap what's happened in the week, so Epstein doesn't become an hour of a segment here. You know what I mean? All right. Well, in a shocking revelation, the Wall Street Journal reports that former President Bill Clinton and Donald Trump were both included in Jeffrey Epstein's 2003 birthday book. The book, presented to Epstein 3 years before his criminal charges, features messages from various influential figures. Clinton's note expressed admiration for Epstein's enduring curiosity and friendships, while Trump has denied authorship of his entry and is currently suing the journal. The report adds to the scrutiny around Epstein's connections with powerful individuals, raising questions about the implications for both former presidents as they navigate their legacies. Epstein, who was convicted in 2008 for soliciting prostitution, was arrested on federal charges in 2019 and died in custody, as we know, shortly thereafter. The Justice Department has stated that there is no client list related to Epstein, despite ongoing public interest in the case, which we are suffering extreme fatigue from. The latest development has reignited discussions about the extent of Epstein's influence and the relationships maintained with high-profile figures. In other news on Epstein,
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the
Do
island.
you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of...
He's right. I mean, look, when he first started coming out and talking about Epstein hoax, and we were all like, our mouths dropped, like, what are you talking about? A hoax that the Democrats are leading. Well, I think what he was alluding to was a hit piece by the Wall Street Journal that was going to come out against him. And he was kind of alluding to that being the Epstein hoax, to try to link him to, being on this list. And so, anyway, so I just preface that, but yeah.
all right, up next here in developments this week.
But a lot of people have asked about pardon. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got. You make it a very big thing over something that's not a big thing.
I think Ghislaine did a wonderful job. She literally answered every question. She didn't say, you know what, don't ask me that. I'm not going to talk about this person. She was asked maybe about 100 different people. She answered questions about everybody, and she didn't hold anything back.
Yeah, so
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell, and the idea that she's been brought in order to provide evidence and testimony, in addition to Donald Trump attempting to get the grand jury testimony, all the evidence there, hundreds of thousands of pages of documentation, we've been told, released. Grand jury okay with Maxwell singing like a canary. This is definitely skeptical territory if she's seeking a pardon that I myself am not too comfortable with, and there's a lot of developments on this. Maxwell learned well from her father how to play the political cards, Robert Barnes says, from the Alex Jones Show. She's likely saying that she will sing from whatever songbook they want if the Trump admin gives her a pardon or a commutation, but might sing a different song if denied. So I have to admit, it's interesting to see what Maxwell has to say regarding the situation as we're trying to get the Epstein list. And while Trump is saying that the Epstein list has been corrupted by the former administration, while Maxwell might have some insights here, I definitely think it's risky territory. All credible information on the Epstein case must be made public so that the American people can decide, Senator Mark Mullen said. The Democrats' political football resolution tells the FBI and DOJ how to do their jobs, moving forward justice with maximum transparency. So Mr. Mullen is saying that that's a good thing, and I think it is as well. And
live now from Fox. So we do have some breaking news that we are following for you. We've been giving you updates on how Ghislaine Maxwell wrapping up part 2 of her talks with the DOJ. Now we're learning that she was offered limited immunity for those talks. Those are the latest reports coming right now. Take a look here at this update saying, I'm told Ghislaine Maxwell was granted a limited form of immunity in exchange for speaking with the DOJ, confirming the Catherine Folder's report. The immunity is often offered to people whom prosecutors want to cooperate, and Maxwell has already been tried and found guilty, plus doesn't cover perjury. So also being reported from the New York Post, we are learning that Maxwell named some 100 different people linked to the late pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and an attorney for the disgraced socialite claimed today, following 2 days of interrogation led by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. So that is some new news that we are learning for you here at this hour, and it continues to be talked about. We just heard from President Trump earlier today in a talk back with media, saying that he had the right to pardon her if he so chooses there. So we'll be definitely watching this closely as more of the investigation into those Epstein files does continue. But again,
Yeah. And Don Gino sort of finished up the week here just yesterday, I believe, giving us some more information to look at here regarding his statement from the Department of Justice. Dan Bongino says, during my tenure here as Deputy Director of the FBI, I have been repeatedly relaying to you that things are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. The Director and I are committed to stamping out public corruption and political weaponization of both law enforcement and intelligence operations. It is a priority for us, but what I have learned in the course of our properly predicated and necessary investigations into these aforementioned matters has shocked me down to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I have learned. We are going to conduct these righteous and proper investigations by the book and in accordance with the law. We are going to get the answers we all deserve. As with any investigation, I cannot predict where it will land, but I can promise you an honest and dignified effort at the truth, not my truth or your truth, but the truth. Which brings us in full circle over here regarding the last week here of the Epstein drama and the Obama Russia Gate hoax scandal, and Maxine and Ghislaine Maxwell attempting to shed some light on the whole conversation here, and our interest in that. It definitely has piqued our interest. And I'd like to say that Dan Bongino definitely has won my respect. He was talking the other day on Fox News of how, like, he doesn't like his job, but he has to do it. And his transparency and vulnerability is the type of transparency I'd like to see from the president and everybody else. But so this week, Alex, is just really full of Maxwell updates on Epstein, and we got to keep our eye on the target here. Because God knows that I don't think we can necessarily trust Ghislaine Maxwell, because she has a lot to lose and a lot to win if she's seeking a presidential pardon. A pardon? That language sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah, like obviously, Ghislaine Maxwell is no saint here. She's definitely guilty of a lot of human trafficking, things of that nature. I believe she's guilty. And I believe her trial that they are trying to go higher up on the courts to get her out, some of from her attorneys, and she's received some of that limited immunity, from the questioning. Now, when they asked Trump about the potential pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. It was something that he, like that guy, that Fox reporter, he was saying that, that President Trump, he said like he can't do that. But first, when it was first asked to him, Donald Trump said, well, I haven't thought about it. But then he said, it's not out of my power. I can't do it. And he's right. He could. But he said that, obviously he hasn't thought about it. And so I think that was a very transparent answer from Donald Trump. Obviously she's fishing for a pardon here. I don't trust her. I hope she is telling the truth. And it seems as though that from Trump's attorney that was there in the interview, that it seemed as though that it was a truthful confession of whatever she was giving. Now, I don't think she has a reason necessarily to lie if she's received immunity, and especially if she is fishing for a pardon. Then I think perhaps maybe you can use her to get, more exposing the deep state. And let's face it, as believers, that's what we want. We want evil to be exposed. I mean, we are commanded to expose the unfruitful works of darkness, as it states in Ephesians 5:11. So that is something that we inherently desire to do. That's a want that we want from our government. Will we get it? Well, I guess only time will tell. And
we got to make sure that we're consistent with our thoughts. The idea of a pardon, I think, is off the table. Ridiculous to even have that idea come into play? A commutation, reduce of her sentencing or something? Okay, I'm softened on that to a little bit, not a commutation, but I'm softened on that to a limited extent. But to be consistent in our narrative, we're demanding that we want the Epstein files. And if we're willing to take Trump for his words, he's saying that the Epstein files have been corrupted and that they're not even there in the first place. So could it be that getting this information from Maxwell is an answer to what we've been demanding? So that's yet to be seen.
Well,
and
listen. I mean, people look. We know the FBI, DOJ, and everybody. I mean, they make deals all the time for people that are guilty. Look, again, I'm not saying that she deserves a pardon or anything like that. But look, if she has information that'll put the deep state, behind people that are high up on the list, William, you know who I'm talking about, Clinton. If it puts people like that behind bars, people that are high up, like perhaps, I don't know, maybe the
gotta
Clintons
put him in
are
bars
guilty.
before he dies, man.
Yeah, look, I mean,
horrible.
then I'm not necessarily saying that maybe they don't make a deal. Again, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision, right? I'm glad I'm not there to decide that. But maybe that's why you have people like Donald Trump that are deciding that, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, to make that decision. I don't know. So,
Yeah. Well, Alex, why don't you lead us into the negative news here, or the not so good news regarding our brother in the Lord?
Yeah. Well, let's
The only thing that is really real